And it's time for a little bit of intellectual anarchy, where we engage in extreme truth, extreme common sense, and diversity of ideas. So what happened in the subway? Okay? Right now, a man named Jordan Neely was killed on the subway. Some say it's self-defense and some say it's murder. And you either have to pick one side or the other. Well, I refuse to do that. There is a lot of failures to go around. The problem with America, they make you jump sides. And there's a lot of truth to be known from this circumstance, to understand from the circumstance, and there was failure all across the board. There's plenty of failures to point around. So let's start with this. And we're going to go down the line of the failures up until the deaths of this homeless person. Number one, there is a monumental failure, especially in democratic cities, of prosecuting and stopping crime. There's mass murders in cities today. That's because the cops are no longer enforcing the laws because they have no backing from the city, and they are denigrated and demonized when it happens. Now, we know the data is out. People who say less police means less crime, these people are idiots and morons, and the data just does not back it up. Whenever you pull the cops out of the city, the people of that city suffer from evil people. There's been a lot more murder, a lot more theft, a lot more crime, a lot more robbery in cities where there's less cops. It's just a fact. The statistic says that. So number one, there's a failure. The man who died was arrested 40 times and then let go. If that is not an encouragement of bad behavior, I don't know what is. If you told your child, no, don't get that candy, wait for dinner, and your wife comes over or your husband comes over and gives them the candy and says, it's okay. The 20th time you tell your kid, don't get that candy, the kid's going to look back at you, come on, really? You ain't going to do anything. She's going to let me. And that's just basic common sense. And if you don't have that basic common sense, then you are a special kind of stupid, and I can't help you. Number two, this man had insanity issues. He was probably a danger to himself and everyone else. We need to bring back the asylum complex and take people who are mentally ill, who are a danger to themselves and everybody else, and put them away. We just need to. Some people can go just for a while. Some people may have to stay there for the rest of their life because they can't be cured. When Ronald Reagan, I am a conservative, lean Republican, when Ronald Reagan got rid of that, he fucked up. Clear, simple. He's my favorite president, but he screwed up and we are paying the price for it. That's it. Somebody needs to have courage, and this is definitely a bipartisan issue. It's the growth of government, Democrats like that, and the protecting of the citizens of the city. Everybody should like that. And it keeps circumstances like citizens taking the law in their own hands way less. Then we're just focusing on criminals, true criminals, to police. Number three, in a place where there is no prosecution of crime, where crime is rampant, you should have the right to defend yourself. Number one, That should not be in question. You shouldn't just take some punches in the face. There's a lot of people who say, not that this guy was doing that when people are having a homeless experience, you just need to take the shit that they're going to give you because they're in a bad place. So they should rape you, punch you, kill you, yell at you, whatever. You should let all that happen because they're in a they're experiencing homelessness. No. We, in our society, if we want to build a better society, we make no excuses for anybody. No excuses. They got to behave better. If you're someone who behaves bad, you need to change your way. Just simple common sense stuff. And at the end of the day, if someone's being rowdy and he looks like he might hurt somebody and you want to subdue him, that may be okay, but you don't have the right to murder him. He was yelling at people. Looked like he was going to get violent, but didn't get violent and wasn't a direct threat to the Marine who choked and killed him. You do not have the right to be judge, jury, and executioner. There's a reason why they don't allow that, the cops to do that, because there is a big margin through history that if you held it too long, you could kill somebody. So this man who did that probably should be prosecuted with manslaughter. I don't believe, personally, that he wanted to kill that guy, that he was holding it to murder him. I think in his mind, he was just holding on to this guy to make sure he didn't get back up. He had no idea that he was dying at that moment. But that doesn't excuse anything. In our society, you do get punished for killing somebody accidentally, even if you didn't mean it. So we don't go kill somebody by accident. Sorry. What are you going to do? Well, what we're going to do is prosecute you. He probably shouldn't get murder 1, probably not murder 2, but probably manslaughter. He probably should go to jail for like 10 years. There was a boy I know who his friends were getting beat up bad. And he opened fire, killed all 3 guys. And he went to jail for life because it was unreasonable force. So you just can't kill people. Lily dilly, neely willy. Now the people who say this is racism is such overused. It is the cudgel of the unintelligent. It truly is. It truly is. If you think this was racism, you are dumbing down the argument and dividing people. It's just not. It's a man that was allowed to the man who was encouraged and allowed to misbehave, or his mental illness was unchecked and unable to be given medicine or put in a place where he does not have to harm himself or anybody else. And the Good Samaritan went overboard and killed him. Now, if the Marine knew what he was doing, the guy died of a heart attack or some other reason, I don't know if he doesn't grab him, would he have died? This is the same thing with George Floyd, right? Was it the knee on the back that caused the death, or was the whole circumstances plus the knee on the back caused the death? Well, we know that if his knee wasn't on his back, he probably would have died. We don't know that. People think that he was going to die no matter what. The coroner is very iffy on that. And here's the last thing. trying to make a martyr and a civil rights movement based on criminals. This does not help your argument if you are someone who wants to look at this in a civil rights thing. There's a lot of people right now who've died that are black, killed by white people, that are not being used for some reason. But they're going to this one thing because it's most televised. And this man has a shaky history. It's sad that he died. And it could have been avoided in all different ways. It could be avoided, but I don't understand why you want to make this person who constantly harass people a martyr. It is a tragic situation, and there's failure on everybody's part. That Marine, you can't just execute somebody in the streets because they're acting in a way that you don't think, especially if there's no threat to you, or they haven't presented a threat to you. If it was on your own property, that's a totally different, but you're out in public. So this is what I think of that. It's sad that this person, Jordan Neely, died, but if we were strong on crime, he could have been in jail away from other people. If we were strong on dealing with mental illness, once he got arrested, he could be in a place where he could be taken care of. So people like this Marine who reacts because that's what the military taught him to do, goes overboard to subdue this guy and ends up choking him out to death. So, we have a big problem in America where we have to choose one or the other. It's failure all around. Failure all around. Now, people are going to get upset if this guy dies of a heart attack and not being choked out. Because people do have a right to subdue somebody that seems violent. And if that subduing was not the cause of the death, this Marine might be let go. If his intention was not to kill, and the choke, if wasn't asphyxiated, it's going to be very hard to convict this Marine. So get ready for that drama. Hey, you can follow me on all my social media platforms. You can see what I'm involved in. You go to jamessalazarmedia.com/sling. It'll show you everything I'm affiliated with. You got my QR code to take a picture of that. It will also link you to everything I'm doing. So, I don't think the civil rights avenue of this is going to take, because New Yorkers are split down the line. But we have to start solving problems and stop pointing fingers. Solve problems, stop pointing fingers. More cops that need to have more training. We need to bring the asylum complex back and get everybody off the streets that are a danger to themselves and everybody else. Then we can start dealing with homelessness, and then we can start dealing with drug addicts, and then we can offer things for people who are strung out on drugs. And at the end of the day, if they don't want to get on drugs and they're doing illegal shit, they go to jail. And at the end of the day, if someone does not want to join society, we shouldn't subsidize it. Well, you can't loiter in the streets. It's got to be laws. If you want to go out into the countryside, you want to go out and do that, fine. But you're not going to be homeless in the cities. You can't allow people not to contribute. And if you're going to give people free stuff like free housing, free phone, free food, Just like the rich need to pay their share of income, sometimes the poor need to pay their share of work. And they need to go to work. There's plenty of work need to be done that the government shouldn't be hiring people, but they should be using homeless people who we are giving housing to, food, cell phones. If they're taking that, they should be on some kind of work line where they're called up to do some work based upon their skills, or maybe just hard labor, like people who are in construction. But they're going to get those things for free. They're going to work for the government instead of hiring somebody for $62,000 to put denied on a piece of paper. They're needed, but like 1 or 2, not like 20. Come on. You know what I'm talking about. Have a good one.